In the heart of South Korea, nestled between modern buildings and quiet alleys, stood Seongjin High School. From the outside, it looked just like any other school, orderly, respectable, peaceful. But inside, past the painted hallways and the decorated lockers, there was a darkness no one wanted to talk about, a kind of quiet fear that gripped many of the students. It was the kind of fear that made kids walk faster down certain corridors and avoid eye contact in the cafeteria. It was the kind of fear that came from knowing that no one would protect you if something happened. Bullies ruled the school, not just ordinary bullies, but an organized group led by Kang Min-soo, a senior with powerful parents and a terrifying reputation. He and his friends extorted, harassed, humiliated, and broke others down for sport. And the worst part? Everyone knew, but no one did anything. The teachers looked away, the staff remained silent, and students survived by pretending not to see. But everything began to change when two boys, as different as night and day, crossed paths. Jaehoon was quiet, almost invisible. He walked with his head down, headphones around his neck, always clutching a novel. People thought he was strange, maybe even cold. But what they didn't know was that Jaehoon had already lived through the worst. In middle school, he had been bullied so severely he had to transfer. Back then, he stuttered so badly he could barely speak. The emotional scars never fully healed, but he'd learned to hide them well. He blended into the background and stayed away from everyone. Taemin, on the other hand, was the complete opposite. Loud, unpredictable, rebellious. He cut class, challenged authority, and got into fights without hesitation. People feared him, but no one understood him. Behind that tough exterior was a boy with demons of his own. A boy who had watched his younger brother suffer at the hands of bullies while adults did nothing. Taemin carried that guilt like a blade in his chest. He couldn't save his brother then, but maybe now he could do something. Their worlds collided on an ordinary Wednesday afternoon. Jaehoon was heading to the library when he heard something strange near the back of the gym. A muffled cry. He followed the sound and found a first-year student trapped in the storage room, his bag torn open and his face pale. Min-soo towered over him, mocking, threatening, ready to strike. Jaehoon didn't say anything. He just pulled out his phone and started recording. His hands trembled, but he held steady. Min-soo turned. "You filming me?" he sneered. "Delete that." Jaehoon didn't move. Min-soo stepped forward, but before he could reach him, a figure slammed into him from the side. It was Taemin. "Pick on someone your own size," Taemin said, smirking. Min-soo lunged at him, but Taemin dodged, shoved him back, and stood in front of Jaehoon like a wall. The younger student escaped, while Min-soo's gang dragged their leader away. Jaehoon and Taemin didn't speak then. They didn't need to. Something had shifted. Word of the confrontation spread fast. Whispers ran through classrooms. Students who had lived in fear for years suddenly had hope. The two boys who had nothing in common were now at the center of something no one had dared dream: resistance. At first, it didn't plan anything. Jaehoon still sat alone, still read quietly. Taemin still showed up late and talked back to teachers. But when they passed each other in the hallway, there was a silent understanding. The next time something happened, they were ready. A girl named Sua was the next target. Min-soo's group had been body-shaming her relentlessly. She'd stopped eating lunch, started skipping school. Jaehoon noticed her sitting alone and sat beside her without saying a word. Taemin, meanwhile, called out Min-soo's gang during gym class, warning them loudly that any more harassment would be dealt with directly. The threats worked. For the first time, the bullies backed off. Jaehoon and Taemin began working together in secret. Jaehoon collected evidence, screenshots, photos, video clips. Taemin used his reputation to protect the vulnerable, making it known that anyone under his watch was off limits. Slowly, students started coming to them. Anonymous notes were slipped into Jehun's locker. Crying first years approached Taemin behind the school. They weren't asking for revenge. They just wanted someone to care. The school administration, however, remained willfully blind. When Taemin punched a senior for harassing a junior, he was suspended. Jehun didn't speak to anyone for a week, burying himself in books. But when Taemin returned, bruised but still smirking, they picked up right where they left off. Then came a festival. Every year, the school hosted a cultural event where clubs performed and students presented creative projects. This year, Minsu's group planned to sabotage the drama club's performance. They slashed costumes, destroyed props, and sent anonymous threats to the lead actress. That was when Jehun had an idea. What if they exposed everything publicly? Jehun gathered weeks' worth of recordings, screenshots, and testimonies. Taemin convinced a sympathetic teacher to let them give a presentation on bullying awareness during the festival's closing ceremony. No one knew what to expect. On the final day, the gymnasium was packed. Students laughed, clapped, ate snacks. Then the screen lit up. Jehun walked on stage, trembling, and played the video. Clips of students crying, screenshots of vile messages, recordings of assaults. Faces were blurred, but everyone knew who it was. The room went silent. Then Jehun spoke. "I was bullied once," he said, voice low but clear. "I was told to stay quiet. I did, and it nearly destroyed me." He paused. "But now, I won't be silent anymore." Taemin took the mic next. "We're not asking you to fight. Just don't look away." The reaction was overwhelming. Students clapped, some cried. A few even stood in solidarity. The principal, red with embarrassment, promised immediate action. Investigations began. Parents got involved. Minsu and his gang were suspended. Teachers who had ignored complaints were reprimanded. And slowly, Seongjin High began to change. Jehun and Taemin didn't become school presidents or celebrities. They still kept to themselves. But students started saying hi to Jehun. Taemin got fewer detentions. The fear in the hallways began to fade. One day, Jehun opened his locker and found a note. "Thank you," it read. "You saved me." He showed it to Taemin, who simply smiled. "Guess we're doing something right." Years passed. Jehun went on to write novels. Taemin opened a self-defense studio, teaching kids how to protect themselves. Sometimes they'd meet near the school, sit under the cherry blossoms, and remember the days they stood up, not because they were strong, but because they knew what it felt like to be broken. And they swore no one else would feel that way again. Because true strength isn't about power. It's about courage. And sometimes, courage comes from the quietest place. Two boys who were once invisible chose to rise. And in doing so, they changed everything.